Children, good evening. And today's topic is reproductive system in animals. So first of all, let us get familiar with some important terms. So what are those terms? First of all, let us see what is fertilization. Fertilization means fusion of male and female gametes. The process is called fertilization, which we have seen in the plants also during sexual reproduction. How pollen grains and egg cell fuse together to form zygote. So in the same way, in animals also, the process of fertilization will take place. The process is called fertilization. So fertilization mainly takes place by two methods: external fertilization and internal fertilization. What is external fertilization? The fusion of male and female gametes takes place outside the body of the organism. That is called external fertilization. Example, aquatic animals like fish and frog, and also certain animals, annelids. In those animals, fertilization is external, outside the body. The process of fertilization takes place. That is called external fertilization. Internal fertilization means fertilization, fusion of male and female gametes takes place inside the body of the organism. That is called internal fertilization. Most of the terrestrial organisms, internal fertilization will take place, like insects and in aves, reptiles, mammals, like cow, man, monkey. So terrestrial organisms, internal fertilization takes place. That is one thing. And the next one is sexual dimorphism. What is sexual dimorphism? If male and female organisms are separate and distinct, that phenomenon is called as sexual dimorphism. If male and female organisms, they are separate and distinct, they are called, that means they contain either male reproductive organs or female reproductive organs. That's called, that is phenomenon is called sexual dimorphism. And unisexual animals. Unisexual animals means the animals which contain either male reproductive organs or female reproductive organs. That phenomenon is said to be unisexual, and the animals are said to be unisexual animals. And bisexual animals. What are bisexual animals? Bisexual animals are those which contain both male and female reproductive organs in the same body. That is, testes and ovaries in the same body. Such organisms are bisexual organisms. They are also called as hermaphrodites. They are called hermaphrodites. So hermaphrodites can be seen in the phyla like Annelida, Mollusca, etc. So that is again hermaphrodites, and the phenomenon is called as hermaphroditism. And another one, secondary sexual characters. Secondary sexual characters means the external characters by means of which we can identify a male organism from a female organism. Such characters are called secondary sexual characters. That means the size, shape, structure, all these things are included in secondary sexual characteristics. So secondary sexual characteristics are those by means of which we can identify a male organism and a female organism. They are called secondary sexual characteristics. So in the sexual reproduction, the reproductive units are sperms. They are produced by reproductive organs, male reproductive organs, which are called as testes. And female units are called ova or egg, which are produced by ovaries. So sperms are male reproductive units and ova are female reproductive units. So what are the main differences between sperms and ova? That we shall see. So it's examination point of view. Also it is very important. So differences. What are the differences between sperms and ova? Sperms are the male reproductive units. They are haploid and they are produced by testes, male reproductive organs. Ova are female reproductive units. They are produced by ovary in the female reproductive organs, female reproductive system, and they are haploid again. So the gametes are always haploid in their nature, which we have seen. And sperms are produced in a large number and ova are produced in a smaller number. and sperms are smaller in size, ova are larger in size, and sperms are motile. Motile means they exhibit movement, and ova are non-motile. And sperms do not contain any reserve food material, but ova contains some reserve food material. So these are the main differences between sperms and ova. Now, what is the necessity to study the reproductive system, especially in man? It means when the conditions are favorable, the population size increases, which we have studied in the beginning of the reproductive system. So in the same way, so in olden days, so the mortality rate was high and birth rate was low. That means more than birth rate, mortality rate. Mortality rate means death rate. That means so many people used to die, and the lifespan also very less. But due to increase in medical knowledge and healthcare conditions, the lifespan of man has increased, and also mortality rate considerably reduced, and the human population has increased all over the world, so that it has a lot of impact on natural resources like food, shelter, everything, and social activities. So that is why it is very important to have control over the increasing size of the population, for which it is very important to know the basic things about the reproductive system in man. So now we shall see. So after studying the important things, external fertilization, internal fertilization, what is the sexual dimorphism, and what are unisexual organisms and bisexual organisms, and what are secondary sexual characters, we will see the male reproductive system in man. So in man, the male reproductive organs are called testes. So a pair of testes are present. They are present in sac-like structures, which are called as scrotum or scrotal sacs. So the testes are present, and these in the testes there are so many small tubules are present. They are called as seminiferous tubules. They are called as seminiferous tubules. Seminiferous tubules. So in the seminiferous tubules, the sperm mother cells are present. These sperm mother cells are diploid in their condition, and they undergo meiotic cell division, and they produce large number of sperms. And the sperms, now they are where they are present in the seminiferous tubules. They are collected by vasa efferentia. They are collected by vasa efferentia, and then they pass through vas deferens, and then they enter into the they join with the ureter and enter into the penis, urethra, and they are sent out of the body along with the urine. So that is these are the ducts. So male reproductive system contains a pair of testes, duct system, and glands. So the pair of testes are present outside the body. That means below the body. That means in scrotal sacs. And next, in the testes, so many seminiferous tubules are present. In the seminiferous tubules, haploid sperms are produced. The sperms are produced in large number, and the sperms are collected by the system of ducts. Vasa efferentia. Vasa efferentia collects the sperms, and then it passes through a convoluted duct, which is called as epididymis, where they are stored temporarily, and then they enter to vas deferens, and then they join urethra, and along with the urine they are sent out of the body. That is male reproductive system. So the sperms are produced in a large number, and they are very small in their size, and they are motile in their nature. So if you see the structure of sperm, the sperm mainly contains head piece, neck piece, middle piece, and tail piece. So head contains a nucleus, a haploid nucleus. To the anterior side of the head, a tapering structure is present, which is called as a acrosome, which helps in the process of fertilization. Neck is the part which connects middle piece and head, and middle piece contains number of mitochondria which provide energy for the sperm to move, swim, and tail is the structure which helps in the process of movement. So this is how the sperms are produced in testes and collected by vasa efferentia, and then they are temporarily stored in epididymis, then they pass through vas deferens, and then they join urethra, and they sent out of the body along with the ureter. And about what are the glands which are associated with the male reproductive system means a pair of seminal vesicles, one prostate gland, and two Cowper's glands. So these are the glands which are associated. So you know it. So a pair of seminal vesicles, a pair of Cowper's glands, and one prostate gland. So these are the glands which are associated with the male reproductive system. So these glands they produce a secretion which is called as semen. So what is the function of semen? Semen supplies nutrients to the sperms, and it also provides medium for the sperm to move and to swim. That is the function of these secretions of these glands. A pair of seminal vesicles, a pair of Cowper's glands, and one prostate gland. So the secretions of these glands is called semen. The semen provides nutrients to the sperms and also provides medium for the sperm to move. So in this way the sperms are formed, and the lifespan of sperms is 1 to 3 days. So the lifespan of and the sperms in male reproductive system, the sperms are produced on the onset of puberty, and they are produced throughout the life of the male body. So this is about the male reproductive system. And if you see female reproductive system, a pair of ovaries are present. A pair of ovaries are present below the kidneys in the abdominal cavity. So the ovaries are, so here the ovaries produce ova. So the ova are, so how they are produced, that we shall see. So in the ovaries, the sac-like structures are present. They are called as ovarian follicles or Graafian follicles. Ovarian follicles, or they are also called as Graafian follicles. Graafian follicles. Ovarian follicles are Graafian follicles. So each follicle, sac-like structure, contains one ovum. When the ovum matures, the follicle ruptures and releases the ovum into the body cavity. The ovum is released into the body cavity, and this released ovum is collected and by a tube-like structure which is called as oviduct or fallopian tube. It is collected by oviduct or fallopian tube, and so the inner side of this fallopian tube are provided with a large number of cilia, and they help the movement of the ovum into the fallopian tube towards the uterus. So that is how the ovum, which is released by the ovary into the body cavity, is collected by fallopian tube. So in the man, that means in human reproductive system, fertilization is said to be internal, and where it takes place in the fallopian tube or oviduct, the process of fertilization takes place. And so how the ova are produced means in the ovarian follicles, that means one ovary produces one ovum at a time, and next time another ovary produces another ovum next time. That means the production of ovum from the ovary alternates between two ovaries. So one ovary produces ovum at one time, and next time second ovary produces another ovum. That means it is alternate. The production of ovum and release of ovum is alternates between two ovaries. So the ovary is produced and released by this ovum. Graafian follicles are present or ovarian follicles are present. In the ovarian follicles, the one ovum is present, and this ovum is released into the body cavity, and it enters into the fallopian tube, and it enters into the uterus. Fertilization takes place in the fallopian tube. So, if the fertilization does not occur, so before fertilization, what is the structure of uterus? Uterus is a thin-walled sac-like structure. Thin-walled sac-like structure, and with little supply of blood. When the fertilization occurs in the fallopian tube, lot of changes will take place in the female reproductive system. That means the walls of the uterus thickens, and the uterus wall is supplied with large amount of blood. So that is the change. So this is a uterus sac-like structure, and the extension of the uterus is called cervix, and which continues as a tube-like structure, which is called as vagina. So this is about the female reproductive system. If the fertilization, so the formation of ovum is called as ovulation. So this ovulation occurs once in every 28 days, which is called as menstrual cycle. So if you see the female reproductive system, what does it contain? A pair of ovaries, and each ovary produces one ovum at a time, and so the formation and release of ovum is called ovulation, and a pair of fallopian tubes are present. The released ovum is collected by the fallopian tubes, and this fallopian tube extends into the uterus. And uterus is a sac-like structure where actually the development of the fetus takes place. That we shall see in the next class. And the extension of the uterus is called cervix, which continues as a tube-like structure, which is called as vagina. So fertilization occurs in the fallopian tube. If the fertilization does not occur, what happens? The unfertilized ovum is sent out of the body. That is that cycle in the form of a cycle, which is called as a menstrual cycle. That means the mucus and endometrium, that means the inner layer of the uterus, and unfertilized ovum are sent out of the body along with some amount of blood, which is called as menstrual cycle. Because it takes place once in every 28 days, it is called menstrual cycle. So this is about female reproductive system. And hope you have understood about male and female reproductive system and the structure of sperm. And in the next class, we shall see how the growth and development of the after fertilization, what happens, what are the changes that are taking place in the female reproductive system, and how the fetus is going to develop, and what are the hormones that are going to help in the development of the fetus, what are the structures that help in the growth and the development of the period. That we shall see in the next class. Hope you have understood. So, and try to remember these terms, that is external fertilization, internal fertilization, sexual dimorphism, unisexual animals, bisexual animals, and secondary sexual characters, and male and female reproductive organs in the human body. Okay, man is unisexual organ, and fertilization is said to be internal because it is taking place inside the body of the female organism. So it is called as internal fertilization. Hope you have understood, and in the next class we shall continue with this reproductive system. If fertilization occurs, what happens? What are the changes that are going to take place in the female reproductive system? That we shall see in the next class. Okay, hope you have understood. Thank you.